So we now move to the second dimension of our opportunity analysis framework. Is it an opportunity accessible to a startup? It breaks down into 4 sub-questions. The first one is about the cost of entry and investment attractiveness. The cost of entry means how much money, funding, do you need to turn that idea into a successful business. It is at that stage about getting a rough idea of the scale of funding. Is it 100,000 euro, 1 million euros, several million, over 10 million euros? Opportunities that cost too much will be hard to execute because raising funding is difficult, uncertain, and a highly selective game for entrepreneurs. There are many famous exceptions, but the general rule is that if your business requires too much funding, it will be more difficult to turn it into a real-life business. The second sub-question is about risks. What could make you fail? It is not at that stage about trying to find innovative ideas that are riskless. There is no such thing. But moreover, what are the factors beyond your control that could lead that idea to failing? Customer adoption is too slow, legislation changes, competition reacts. Even if you don't make big mistakes, what could make you fail? In the case of Adamance, it would probably be the speed of adoption, and more precisely, between the initial marketing investment to drive demand and actual online purchase of jewels. How will it happen? How long will it be for the business to take off? Which leads us to the third sub-question, feasibility. Can you lead the execution of this idea all the way through designing the offering, building the business, launching, selling, assuming the after-sales work, trying to identify all the way through the main hurdles that might come along and assess whether or not you may overcome them? Let me take a simple example to make my point. Let's assume we've invented a revolutionary biodiesel with twice the energy efficiency for half the cost. The business opportunity side is huge, of course. You have a strong competitive edge, sustainability is likely covered by a patent that protects your invention, which means that only you can produce that revolutionary biodiesel. Is it an opportunity for a startup is another issue, and maybe not so much, because it might not represent a feasible business for a startup. This comes from 2 observations. First, it is a regulated market, which means you need a legal authorization to sell any type of gas in France, and you can make sure that the lobby of oil company will make it very hard for you to obtain. But more importantly, who distributes gas? Oil companies, the very same players with whom you will compete with your revolutionary biodiesel. Therefore, you might have a hard time getting your product distributed because it's unlikely they sell a product that directly competes with their core business. And last questions. What are the core skills? Is it about marketing, logistics, design, scientific expertise? If your business requires, for example, to develop some algorithmic base, it's important you think about how you will find that unique applied math skills for developing your offering. In other cases, it might be about marketing, quickly reaching target customers and get them to use your product or service. The underlying question is always, do I already have the core skills within the founding team, or can I find the missing one? If yes, the project might look credible from the team, which is always a critical issue for early partners and particularly investors. This completes the second dimension of the opportunity analysis framework.